check, 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 check. Let's just continue.
I just don't know how to express myself sometimes when I need to be properly different. Fuck.
What in the fuck are you dressed up like a bumblebee for? And what do you look like Indianapolis Jones?
Who's there, Rick? Mr. Stupidity Head that's fucking pissing me off right now thinks he's the captain of the shitliner, and by the way, your fish stick sucks.
Welcome, window lickers, and I am super.
I'm good. Thanks for having me here. You could go to the channel and you could like hear what was going on. You just couldn't see it. It was like all in, you know what I mean, like all in blur. But so I sat and I listened to this whole entire pay-per-view from beginning to end while playing with my wrestlers.
Oh, I got what you mean.
And
Yeah.
just yeah, and I could hear it, but I couldn't see anything. And I just remember thinking, like, man, I wish I could see what was going on right now.
Well,
Especially like when you hear the crowd and you hear the pop for some of the stuff.
no, I know exactly what you mean. And on this one, I actually waited for it to come out into our local video store. And
Oh, really?
yeah, once it came out, then me and my cousins, we definitely got it. Went through it, rewatched it a billion times. I don't even think we watched
Yeah.
the actual Royal Rumble itself as many
Yeah.
times as we watched this specific match. And fans, if you
Oh, yeah.
haven't guessed it by the logo we got in the corner, we are watching Cactus Jack versus Triple H Royal Rumble. This was an epic match. Right now, fans, so you can get queued up with us, I am at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 6 seconds for this exact match. So if you want to go ahead and get there with me and Chris Owens, we will be right at that moment, and that's where we're going to kick it off. So, Chris, before we get into this, I would definitely love to hear maybe one specific thing that really sold you on your fandom when it came to this specific match.
The hardcore style of it. Believe it or not, when I was little, I was a huge hardcore like match fan. Like even I remember getting on Kazaa and downloading like old death matches from with Mick Foley in them. And yeah, I was actually a huge fan of that stuff there for a little bit when I was little. But then when I got older, I started to kind of appreciate more of the technical wrestling and the the Chris Benoit's and Kurt Angles and
Of course.
Shawn Michaels. But yeah, around this time, this was kind of when I first started watching wrestling, and this was really like the first feud that I was like hooked on.
Okay.
With
Well,
Triple H and Mick Foley.
I mean, this is a great feud to get hooked on when it comes to the hardcore matches and everything. Even though Triple H isn't known for a good majority of his hardcore matches or things like that.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it too. It was kind of a different thing for Triple H.
And that's what I was
And I
going to
was a
say.
huge Triple H fan too when I first started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, Triple H, he's been one of my absolute favorites ever since I started watching wrestling and understanding it. I mean, more so, watching Hulk Hogan when I was a real young child and not really understanding wrestling. But I do credit a lot of what I know just by watching Triple H matches and watching his career.
Yeah, I remember it was around this time. I had just moved to Kokomo
Okay.
as a kid, so I was like the new kid, and I was at a new school, and I lived in a little town called Sulphur Springs before I moved here,
Hmm.
and we didn't really watch wrestling there. It wasn't like the most popular thing at school, but when I came here to Kokomo, uh, it was all anybody talked about at school, and I had no idea like what anybody was talking about because the last time I had known what wrestling was like when Ultimate Warrior and Big Boss Man and people like that were in it. So
Yeah.
kids would come up to me because I was the new kid at school, and they would start saying stupid stuff to me, like just coming up to me and asking me if I knew what The Rock was, or if I could smell what The Rock was cooking. And I remember having no idea what they were talking about and thinking like, is this guy some kind of chef or what? Like what? And they're like, you don't watch wrestling? I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I used to. And they're like, yeah, The Rock. And I'm like, oh, is Ultimate Warrior still wrestling? And they're like, no. And then once I realized like the only way I could make friends was if I like started watching wrestling.
Yeah.
So I went to the video store and rented some older pay-per-view and watched it from beginning to end and kind of just got like caught up to what was going on at this point.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked. I just fell in love with it.
Okay. We got a fan in the chat. I'm sorry. The bots. They didn't allow it, so I had to allow it. But he says, this is coming from Chris Best out of our local establishments. I just did a watch along with him, and he says, I remember everyone going around doing the crotch chop in high school.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
I'm pretty sure some kids were doing that to me too. And I probably didn't know what they were talking about. But here's another story. Remember the old figures from around this time?
Oh yeah.
The Jack. Okay, so at recess time, all the kids would bring all their figures in, and like they'd sit at a table and play with them. And the only wrestlers that I had at home were like the old little plastic ones, like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. I think I might have had like a rubber Hulk Hogan. And so one day I was like, all right, I'm gonna take my wrestlers in, you know what I mean? So I can sit down with everybody and make some friends and play with my wrestlers with them. And all these kids were sitting at a table, and I sat down and pulled out my little plastic Ultimate Warrior and rubber Hulk Hogan. And I'm not kidding. The place got silent, like dead silent, and they all just looked at me, and then just started busting out laughing. And I'm like, I'm like, what? I brought my wrestlers here. This is what you guys are playing with, isn't it? And they were like, what is this?
That's
like, they're wrestlers.
fantastic.
So then that's when I was like, all right, I really got to get up to date with the current wrestling.
I love that
Yeah,
story.
I have a friend that I still see every once in a while now
Yeah.
that he still brings that up. Yeah,
That's a true friend then.
he said, I'll never forget that time you brought out some little 1991 plastic Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, my friends at school would have laughed at you too if you would have brought
Oh
those
yeah,
out.
yeah, it was especially because like I was the new kid. Yeah,
Yup.
I didn't know any. Oh my gosh, it was
Uh,
humiliating.
but I mean, wrestling has brought you full circle. I mean, I've seen you in the ring. I've been around many things you've done, and like I told you from the first day I met you, man, I am a true fan of yours. Um,
Oh,
I
thank you.
I cannot wait to ever see you get back in the ring again. Um, you have a presence about you, man, that I really connect with, and I really enjoy watching.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things before too long. It probably won't be like as much. I wouldn't mind just doing it like every so often type
Yeah.
of thing. You know what I mean? Like just like the traveling every weekend and stuff like that. Like I'm getting older now, and just even thinking about that kind of like just stresses me out.
I
So
can understand that. You guys did put a lot
yeah,
of miles on you.
oh yeah. So I wouldn't mind. I'd rather when I do like get back in the swing of things, I'd rather kind of just you know what I mean, not stress myself out with it, and just kind of just do it every so often, maybe kind of nearby.
Yeah.
I would love for us to get something started here in Kokomo. If we could do that, I would definitely do that like as much as I could. But as far as like driving, like 4 or 5 hours away, like I'm just not into that,
Yeah.
you know.
No, that's completely understandable.
Yeah.
But what brought us here tonight is one fantastic match put on by two of my favorite, absolute all-time favorite performers. Also with Chris Owens here. So fans, again, we are at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 6 seconds of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And for our main event, because, well, we all know the Royal Rumble was the main event, but for our one, for this moment, we are going to be watching. Oh, you stupid jerk. Oh, my Peacock just switched me over to Survivor Series.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Which one?
it switched me right over to 01.
Oh, that was a
Survivor
good one, though.
Well, yeah, it's a good one, but it is definitely not what we're here for, Chris Owens.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all queued right back up.
Are you on it?
Yes, we
So
are
you're at
1
1
hour, 10 minutes, and 6 seconds.
Okay.
They are just getting ready to square off in the ring, so fans,
Okay. So,
get your TV, your computer, your phone, whatever you're watching this on, get it queued up, and we are going to get it started here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right.
There we go.
So this was
There we go.
an excellent pay-per-view all around up until this point.
hmm you have that tables match with the Hardys and Dudleys.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing that in Blur too, and hearing the crowd reactions and
You had my second favorite match of the night was Angle versus Taz.
that was a good one. Yeah.
I mean, I am a sucker for Taz and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Kurt Angle's first Raw.
Kurt Angle, I don't know if you know this, but he just got approved for his biopic.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So
yeah,
they are
I
going to
can't
be
wait.
doing a Kurt Angle movie.
Yeah, I wonder who's like going to be making it, or who's going to play him.
That's a good
You
question.
know, after all. That'll be interesting.
And
I can't
wonder-
wait for the Iron Claw.
Yes, that is something I am looking completely forward to.
hmm
Just as much as Cactus Jack was looking forward to swinging Triple H's neck onto the outside.
Do you were you watching the SmackDown when Mick Foley came back as Cactus Jack?
I was.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I
I think
remember.
it was right before the pay-per-view.
I remember when when him and Chainsaw Charlie came back, and they caused a ruckus back against Road Dogg and Mr. Ass.
Oh, yeah.
And when they did that, dude, that's when I started really looking into Mick Foley's career, like further than
Oh, really?
what I was seeing. And
Oh, okay.
his wars with Terry Funk in Japan, the C4 matches they had, those
Yeah.
when I was a kid and I seen those, that really opened up my eyes to what wrestling could be.
Yeah, those are crazy. Those are the ones that I would download on Kazal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those were insane. I just went back and watched him and Sting's match too
Oh, okay.
a few days ago. Yeah,
Dude, there
yeah,
was
that was a good one.
a whole world of Mick in WCW that, a lot of these younger generations don't know about. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah, exactly.
long-lived, but he
Yeah, I mean, his match, he had that one with Sting and then Vader. This chair shot, I think, is this where it happens? Yeah, right here.
Man, so when you heard this happen, because like you were telling, it was an audio experience you had,
Mhm.
what was going through your mind back then?
Man, I was just sitting there like, God, I wish I could see what was going on. Especially like when you hear the crowd and the reactions, and you're just thinking like, man, wish I could see it. Because you always knew something big happened when the crowd is,
Oh yeah,
when they get really loud.
especially back then.
Another funny thing is, I remember hearing the Rumble, the
Mhm.
Roy, and I'll never forget when Billy Gunn came out, and I swear to this day, I swear he got like the loudest pop of the night.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch when he comes out in the Rumble, the
Mhm.
crowd goes insane.
Well, we have Chris Best hitting us up in the chat, and he says the Rumble match that night was also a really fun match.
hmm
Yeah, I
I
remember.
remember that bump that Taka Michinoku
Yeah.
took when he got eliminated.
I didn't know if he was gonna get up after that one and be able to
Yeah,
function.
that looked rough. Yeah.
But this was back when everybody was trying to get that big pop. Everybody was trying to get their big moment on a WWE stage.
Yeah.
Up and over he goes.
Nice. Yeah, this is at the Garden too, so
Yeah. So the fans are rowdy. It's a place where you go to make a name for yourself.
yeah. It was the perfect place to have a street fight.
Yeah. I mean it really worked on so many levels too because in this street fight as the competitors you guys are, I mean, your story is being told you're going into New York's crowd. I mean, that in itself, just by going and visiting places that you guys have visited, you guys know the different rowdiness of a crowd. And I've always heard New York, Philadelphia crowds, and sometimes
Hmm.
when you get down to Atlanta, Georgia, those crowds will go nuts.
Yeah, I could see Chicago being a really
Yeah.
probably more mean probably one of their best
Oh,
crowds. Isn't that where that's where Triple H like cut his leg, isn't it?
that's what I was going to ask you. Is this the moment where the spike goes into Triple H's leg and we see
Yeah,
where?
yeah. See, he grabbed it right there. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember when the VHS came out, they had that exclusive footage
yeah,
of him in the back, and his leg was just leaking.
yeah. I mean, he took it right in the calf muscle, and if
Hmm.
you've worked with skids before, you know those nails they use. Those are some big
Oh yeah.
boys. But this match to me kind of showed the rest of the world that Triple H can hang in a match of this caliber.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and he was bleeding all over the place, and yeah, it showed a hardcore side of Triple H.
It was also like I will say it was like to me one of the best looks Triple H has had, where he is like pure muscle. Like there is
Oh yeah,
nothing, there is no fat on him right now. He is just pure
yeah.
lean muscle.
This was like peak physique for Triple H. He's all his physique has always kind of like bounced up and down. I don't know if you ever like really noticed it,
Yeah.
but like if you look at like '06 Triple H,
Hmm.
he was looking a little flabby. I mean, still in good shape, but not like this.
No, I
And
know what you mean.
I
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I actually read something about why he was, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I read that him and Stephanie were trying to have kids around this time, and so he had to get off the extra help.
Yeah. I got what you're
That's
saying.
why that's what I read why his physique kind of flatlined around that time.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Full head of steam, Cactus Jack just driving that thigh right into your face.
Foley was looking in pretty good shape around this time too.
Yeah, he really was. He was definitely on top of his game. But I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
back then with him being so storylines with like Triple H himself, Austin, things like that. Foley
Mhm.
to keep level, he had to, he had to step some things up.
Yeah. Yes, he put on, basically two memorable Rumble matches in a row because the year before this was the I Quit match
Yeah,
that people still talk about to this day. Yeah, see, I remember hearing this part in Blur
that's
and hearing that crowd just erupt with the barbed wire 2x4.
yeah. And I don't know if you've seen as of recently, but the barbed wire has taken a step up now, courtesy of Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah,
Their
I
Texas their Texas death match was epic.
I saw the one clip that everybody's talking about, and it makes me sick thinking about it.
Yeah,
the blood
Yeah,
spot. Um,
yeah.
I can't do that. That's too much for me.
Uh, I honestly that one didn't get me as much as when Swerve swung that chair and hit Adam in the back, and the barbed wire
Hmm.
wrapped across into the Hangman's face.
Oh,
And
shoot! Say I didn't see that
Swerve,
clip.
oh, I got the photo saved of Swerve pulling back on it, and you see the barbed
Oh,
wire just pulling on Adam. Uh, woo. But I will
man.
say it was a great match, just much like this match. I mean, what those two did that night and what these two did
Hmm.
this night, uh, as a hardcore fan, I,
Yeah. Mick Foley actually addressed that match
yeah,
recently. Yeah. He said he said the blood drinking part he said was a little too much for him too,
mm,
and just especially in this day and age, that he said it's dangerous because you're gonna have a lot of guys on the indies trying to recreate that, and you know what I mean. Like you don't know what kind of stuff is floating around out there, with hepatitis and all that stuff. And
no,
it's just a very
I
very
completely,
dangerous thing to do.
yeah, I completely understand. Uh, but let's just hope those guys on the indies think it through before they even think about doing a
Yeah, I hope
spot
so.
like that. You know?
Yeah, yeah. You just got to be careful out there.
Yes, you
There's
are
a Triple H.
correct, Chris Best. This match was set up to make Hunter the main eventer. He just this match really, to me, this showed that Hunter was the guy to take the reins.
Hmm.
He can go through
Yeah, because
anything.
Stone Cold was gone.
Yep,
I mean, Rock was still there, but
he was on his
they
way
had to.
out.
Yeah, but they needed a top, heel
Oh,
for
that's
the
where he
Rock.
starts leaking from the head. That him
Yeah,
setting up and that blood just started pouring.
he bleeds badly in this match.
Yeah,
It just showed a close up of his leg.
and you know that
Mm.
he's just going through so much pain right now in that leg.
Oh yeah, that's one thing. That's another thing I've always loved about Triple H is he gets hurt and he keeps going.
Very true. I
You
mean,
know what I
he
mean? Like
showed that in the match where his what he tear in his leg when he
his
was
quad.
yeah, when he tore his quad and he stayed in it,
But, hmm.
did not tap.
Yeah, I remember. I thought that was like the coolest thing. And then same with when Hardcore Holly broke his arm
Oh yeah,
in that match with Kurt Angle, and he kept going and finished the match. And I remember thinking that was like the coolest thing ever, and like how awesome Holly was for that.
yeah,
And then when I get older and I do it, I break my arm, and at OVW,
yeah.
and but I finished the match. So I remember thinking like, holy crap, that's so crazy that like when I was little, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, and then here I am doing it.
It's a full circle event.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, Chris Best, you're correct. Mick at this time he did want to work with Hunter and get him over into that main eventer scene, level that Mick definitely seen in Hunter and working with him throughout the
Yeah,
years.
yeah. Mick was on his way out around this time too.
He just couldn't stand anymore with all that blood on that table.
Imagine what the commentators think, having to sit there afterwards with all that blood everywhere.
Exactly. It's all over the monitors. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just still pouring out of his leg.
I think there's a part, it might be, I don't know if it's right here. I think there's a part where Triple H flips his hair and he's right by the front row crowd, and I'm
Oh,
pretty sure the blood goes all over the front row there.
well, it's just a pool of it on the front of his face, streaming down his leg.
Yeah, he definitely cut himself a little too deep there.
But it played so well into this match. I mean,
Oh,
when
sure.
I remember watching it, and it just made me believe that Triple H was the guy that he was taking over the WWE. There's that close up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Ooh, yeah.
And the fact that these two came together to make this moment, and they didn't
Yeah.
worry about themselves. I mean, oh, so awesome. He just does that face plant right into it.
Triple H takes it so well too.
Yeah. Of this era, I would say Triple H is the best seller. He
Oh,
just
for sure.
he knew how to sell everybody's move. He knew how to make it
Hmm.
look impactful.
Yeah.
And I would say he could credit a lot of that to his time he spent with William Regal and just learning from him.
Yeah. Well, they in interviews and two interviews, people always talk about like how Triple H he never like went out and drank or
Yeah,
did anything. They said he was just all business, just all the time. Always kept a good like head on his shoulders, and didn't get involved in all the extracurricular activities.
and it paid off. I mean, look where he is now.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah, exactly.
running the place he always wanted to.
Yeah.
And you gotta love Mick for just not only did he take that first one that looked like it messed
Hmm.
up his legs, he goes and oversells it for the second one and just
Oh, yeah.
tears up his legs the rest of the way. Oh,
Nick knew how to make stuff look just absolutely devastating.
he was a.
Yeah, I always loved when he did that. The flip over the stairs.
It's incredible that he does it. I was always a fan of the whole Cactus Jack character.
I I used to say he was probably my favorite Mick Foley
Yeah,
character,
I would agree with you on that one.
and then Mankind, and then Dude Love was last.
Yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of the Dude Love.
I wasn't either, but I thought it was a fun character that everybody else played off of.
Yeah,
But other than that, I could not stand. Oh man.
that's why he did it though. Like it was something that he used to mess around with back, when he was doing like backyard wrestling.
Exactly.
He said the Dude Love character was always something he just wanted to do.
Man, the psychology that went into this match seems to be just as exhausting as the moves that they're doing to each other.
Yeah. That's what I loved about this match too, is like how much it made sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a pointless, hardcore just hit each other over the head with stuff. Like there's a good story to it. Like Mick Foley brought back the Cactus Jack gimmick because he said that Mankind wasn't ready for this type of match, and it was just so good. Like the storytelling was just awesome.
Yeah, back then their ability to tell a story when it comes to uh, athletes of this caliber and ability to tell a story, it was
Yeah,
just it was beyond anything. I mean, it was almost movie-esque the way they were
yeah.
telling stories back then.
The matches were just a lot more special back then. Like even like Hell in a Cell matches and
Hmm.
ladder matches, they were special back then. But I feel like nowadays, like everybody on the roster has been in a Hell in a Cell match or a ladder match. You know, back in the day, it was like very select few would be in those type of matches.
And they didn't want to be. It was a last resort
Yeah,
type match, you know. That was
yeah. It was
how you
always
were gonna
the
have to.
blow off one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I see exactly
Nowadays,
what you're saying.
yeah. And now they just base the whole pay per view around it and
Yeah.
just throw them in that kind of match just for the sake of the pay per view.
And like Chris Best says in the chat, this match wasn't hardcore for hardcore's sake. It was actually like what you're saying, Chris Owens.
Yeah.
It told a story and it did its purpose, and that's what I truly appreciate about guys of Triple H and Mick Foley's caliber.
Yep.
They just really knew how to tell a story.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's something that's missing in WWE now.
Yeah, I really do too. I think it's more who can do the latest big move.
But yeah, I feel like WWE's kind of turned into like a Disney on Ice type of thing, like where it's just it's an event, not really a show.
No, that makes a
You
lot of
know,
sense.
you know what I mean? Like they're always going to be successful and they're always going to sell out arenas. Like I mean, it'll never go anywhere. But I feel like that's just kind of what it's turned into. It's a brand,
Yeah,
you know, not yeah,
moments like this that were impactful on a few levels. I mean, the legacy of Mick Foley, the last hill that Triple H needs to climb. You
yeah,
know, those can be retold and everything, but the heart and the passion that goes into it, that can't be recreated.
yeah.
I
They
mean,
were they knew how to make you believe.
and
You know,
we do have a
what
few
you're
out there now
what,
that are doing it, but it's very few. I mean, Seth
yeah,
Rollins, to me, he makes me believe his character. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen any of his video of CM Punk showing up, but
yeah. I did
he,
where he's wrestling.
if,
Yeah.
if they're going with the storyline that this is totally pissed off Rollins, I'm I'm bought. I mean, they hooked me already.
Oh yeah, that which they need to. They need to just go ahead and throw it out there. You know,
Yeah,
it's one of those things that like they can't really ignore.
and don't
Like you
waste
might as
it
well
now.
go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, there's heat to it. He's already said. I
yeah.
mean, the Friday night, he was sitting there when they were chanting for CM Punk, and he was like, "Are you guys fucking kidding me?" And just
So it's
talking.
like the story writes itself with that. You know, they could have Punk come out on Monday and address it. You know,
This is what I loved about Mick Foley.
yeah.
He would stare
I
you in
think
the eyes. Oh,
The
there it
Rock
comes
comes
out.
out. Yeah,
But the fact that Mick Foley is going to stand there handcuffed and just talk shit to you while you're holding a steel chair, it,
yeah,
it, it really showed. The Cactus Jack character to me showed more of his uh, I don't give a shit and I'm going to put on a great show.
yeah.
I mean,
He
Mankind had
was
his
like
great moments.
Cactus Jack was like the hardcore guy. Mankind was, you know, like the damaged, you know, guy that was traumatized from his childhood.
Yeah.
Well, Cactus Jack was like the more badass type of character.
And it's so crazy that one man was able to take two great minds. But I mean,
Hmm.
one mind, but two great personalities, and turn them into people that like me and you still talk about today.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know that's why I'm surprised. Oh man, that was awesome.
yeah,
Oh, Triple H such a wedgie though.
yeah, he did.
His underwear was completely up his butt crack. But he's kicking it right there. You see him?
Yeah. Goddamn, Mick. Gave me a G-string.
Ripped his underwear off. But I used to love that pile driver, that version,
Yeah.
when he would pull the tights. And, oh man, when I was younger, like we did the backyard wrestling stuff. That was like one of my go-to moves.
It's a great one.
But it's one of those moves though that like only Mick Foley can do. Like if somebody tried that now, I feel like it wouldn't work. That's like one of those. That's just for Mick Foley, not anybody else.
Now, I will tell you, during my backyard wrestling days, this spot right here made me take thumbtacks for the first time.
Oh really?
Yeah, this exact match, this exact moment, I was like, I was getting ready for a match we were gonna start our season off with, and it was my hardcore match, and we were gonna end it with me going right onto a pile of thumbtacks.
Nice.
And it was all because of this match.
Forget the don't try this at home thing, huh?
Yep, I did not. I took notes, actually.
Yeah, exactly. This part.
Yep. Oh. But
then when you think that that was enough, then the next one is even still just insane to this day.
He took that pedigree so good.
He used to take the best pedigrees. And that was back when Triple H wasn't letting go. Because remember when he kind of adjusted it later on and started letting go of their arms? Yeah, back then, I remember when me and my friends would wrestle, if we were like on a mattress or something and they'd give me a pedigree, I'd make sure I kicked my legs out like that and I'd tell them not to let go.
Oh.
See that.
Oh my gosh. And I love the fact the Stephanie spot because her smiling through it, it really, I don't know, it sold it more to me.
I was obsessed with like the Triple H and Stephanie storyline.
It was such a very well written storyline.
Yeah.
Wow, fans. As we all know, Triple H walks away the winner of this one, but
a bloody mess.
Yeah, I mean, he went through hell. He can barely stand. He took a skid nail through his calf muscle. He cut himself way too deep earlier. He's just bled all over the place. But him and Mick Foley went to war in this, and they had a most amazing, epic moment that I'm glad I got to share with you here, Chris Owens. So here on Window Lickers, what we do at the end, we really like to hear what you as a fan, what you loved about this match. Why was this your match that you wanted to pick?
I loved the storytelling. I loved seeing like the hardcore side of Triple H.
Yeah.
The crowd. I loved the crowd's reaction to everything, and yeah, I mean, like just everything about this era and this match is just like what made me, fall in love with wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just really loved the storytelling of this match. I thought it was great.
And like
we said, not just pointless, hardcore, hit each other over the head with stuff. Like it all made sense.
No, I completely agree with you. Like we did talk about throughout the whole match, it was a match set up to actually come to a closure in a story being told for many years. I mean, if you follow the feud between these two, and the evolution of both of their characters and where they went in the WWE. As a fan of Triple H's and of Mick Foley's, to see it come to this, to see it come to them putting on a show like this, it was very comforting. You know, it was satisfying knowing that they finished a story and that they did it well. And Triple H went on to do some really awesome things. I mean,
yeah, that was probably his best year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say
that year.
As a fan of his, that definitely 2000. I mean, he was highlighted everywhere. There was a lot of amazing moments in the 2000 year for wrestling, and the fact that we had the King of Kings have one of his best years that he ever had under the WWE logo is amazing. And the fact that he was able to do a match of this caliber and go into it, and like many of us in the chat talked about, it wasn't just to be, hey, I'm Triple H, I'm doing a hardcore match. It was, hey, I'm Triple H, I'm telling a story with Cactus Jack, and people are going to talk about it. I mean, so
it's like he had to adjust to Cactus Jack's style.
Yeah, and in my opinion, that made Triple H even more of a megastar because he was able to go to where others were challenging him. And it didn't matter because he was bringing that belt with him, and he was going to walk out the champion no matter what he had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the following night, he was all bandaged up on that Raw, and it looked like he went through war.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't that the night where he came out with the sunglasses and he takes them off and his eyes all jacked up?
Yeah, they had stuff all over his face, like cuts and bruises. Yeah.
Man, that was
and then I've got mine paused right now, and it's got a shot of that hole in his calf.
And that wasn't a small hole. I mean,
no.
He took that nail.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the exclusive footage of him laying on the bed in the back.
Yeah.
And it showed a close-up of it, and the blood was just like gushing out.
Yeah, that was one of the most gnarly. And at the end of the match, you could see when he goes over and he yells at Earl, he can barely stand on it. Like, he had to use the ropes and just stay eye level with Earl. I mean, he went to war in this, and I can almost guarantee you backstage when that match was happening, there were some people yelling some things, and Triple H continued, because that happened early on in the match. That wasn't all the way through the match.
Oh yeah, that was right when he got suplexed on the wood.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty early on.
Well, fans, I want to say thank you for joining us here on Window Lickers, and edition of Watch Along with a Wrestler. Chris Owens, thank you so much for joining us. I love talking to you about wrestling. I love everything you do, man. The videos you put out, all the fun chats we have, man. So why don't you give the fans a little quick of maybe where they can find some of your content and stuff like that, and take a moment to hype anything you want.
Yeah, I have a page on Facebook. I mean, if you just type in my name, it should just pop up right there, Chris Owens. And then I've got Instagram. I post a lot of stuff on there too. It's at Chris _ Owens at Instagram.com or however you say it. So yeah, I mean, it's same with Instagram. If you just type in my name, it should just pop up.
Awesome. Well, fans, go out there and check out all things Chris Owens does, and I'm so happy you stopped in and spent your Sunday with us. I know this weekend you've seen a lot of The Voice. You've seen me Friday. I was with Dustin Mack, and we were watching Jeff Hardy versus Edge versus Triple H at the Armageddon '08, and that was an epic one. And you just seen me here now with Chris Owens watching Cactus Jack versus Triple H in the Royal Rumble 2000, and you caught me last night for the Survivor Series. So, catch In Your House. We will be live Tuesday, where House and Hypocrisy Jones are going to be giving some takes on what happened over the weekend in wrestling. So, be prepared for that. Check it out. You know they always do a great job, and they're out there putting in that work, because it's House, spelt with a W, and that W stands for work. So it was I, the voice. It was him, Chris Owens, and it was a excellent watch along. So join us for the next one, and we will catch you later.
I just don't know how to express myself sometimes when I need to be properly different. Fuck.
Great show, man.
In the fuck are you dressed up like a bumblebee for? And what do you look like Indianapolis Jones?
That's a good one. I love it. It's definitely absolutely one of
Mr.
my top
Stupidity
5
Head.
matches.
Fucking pissing me off right now.
They
Thinks
do
he's a
such
captain of the
great work
shit
in that
liner,
match.
and by the way, your fish stick sucks.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I would love to have you on again anytime you want, because I love doing these. I know the guys enjoy.